So welcome to another episode of Power Just Skills Training, and this is the Adobe XD tutorial, and we're going to be dealing with another part of the Adobe XD tutorial. Actually, Adobe XD is just quite simple actually, but there are some tools which can be quite confusing and you will need a lot of attention to get used to it. So I think I'm going to set this right here to at least 50%. That's going to give me a little bit of a better view, or if I don't really want to stress myself, I've just pressed the zoom button and just give me a full coverage of this large area. I think the smaller it is, okay? I'm gonna have to decrease this a little bit. Okay, let's just put this back to 100. That's quite big. Let's put this back to 50. Okay, that's quite good. So I'm just gonna drag this right here and put this right here. So if I draw a shape, see, I can just draw a simple shape just like this. What are the basic editing I could do to the shape? There are actually a basic edit. So there are some basic editing I can actually do to the shape. I could just change the width and the height right here. Just put 34, 34, and also this one's 46. So you see it's kind of resized right here. If I want to put the position of it, I could just put 45. This is one of, I could put 45. So you see, I'm changing the position of everything. If I want to change the rotation, I could put it to 45 degrees. It's going to rotate like that. And if I want to set the alignment, you can see I'm trying to, sorry, this is the mirror button. I'm trying to mirror the view of the button, as you can see, mirror it all over and over, all over and over. So let's just say it's quite simple. And I can just say fixed position while scrolling. You might not actually need to put this right on. So please make sure you set it as responsive design, because it won't be good if you don't have a responsive design. It spoils a lot of stuff. So now you can always adjust the opacity of your shape right here and here. As you can see, the opacity is being adjusted, and also as in other Adobe apps, you can always add your blend mode. There are a lot of blend mode right here. I can turn it to screen. It's not really gonna show. If I change the fill color, okay, when we talk about the fill color, we'll talk about the blend mode. So I'm gonna change it to this kind of dotted kind of circle, which it's not gonna show because I set the blend mode to screen. Let's change the blend mode back to normal. Okay, so as you can see, if I click on this and I kind of bring this down to this, you're gonna see a little bit of dotted line all around. Though I'll not be done, but dotted line all around, and I could give it 3, 4, and that looks quite good. So actually, with this fill color, there are a lot of stuff I could do with the fill color. When I double click on it, I could actually get my red color to pick it up, or I could just take this pen dropper tool and go right towards the end place to pick up any kind of color. Let's pick this. You see, the color just changed to that. So let's just say this app is quite simple to use. Look at the border. Your border gives like see what the border can do. It gives kind of color around the particular shape, as you can see. I always use my pen dropper tool to pick up a little bit of color. Let's take this one. So you see how beautiful it is. So I can actually change the size of my border to 3. So that's gonna make it the shape, you see, it's more beautiful and more clear like that. And actually I could make it to be a dash line, as you can see. Now it's a dash line, and the gap between those dashes I give it 2. You see how the magic is being done. So it's quite simple to use. Now this actually depicts the kind of stuff you want, the kind of stroke you want. As you can see, these are all stroke. If you want a stroke at the center, stroke, this is outer stroke, this is inner stroke. These are going to be useful to you once you learn the basics of UX and UI design. You're going to know when to use the outer strokes and when to use the inner and the center strokes. And actually with this, you can actually do a lot of stuff with your board cap, your round cap, and your projecting cap. You're going to be using this in some aspect of design. And also this is very good for you if you want to create all those kind of shape that have all this circle kind of bottom, like round rectangles. So this is going to be very useful for you. So make sure you take note of this. Now another part that's going to be useful for you is adding shadows to stuff. Look at this. This has a little bit of shadow. Let me give it a little bit of adjustment. Okay, now once I place this right here, and I'm gonna do something. Okay, I'm gonna have to, this is the shadow, so I could just turn the shadow value to 3, and you can see some dark shades all around the shape. It makes the shape to look quite a little bit alive, as you can see. Let's just say that's quite normal for me. If I change this blend mode to screen, it's gonna disappear because it doesn't make any sense. Difference, you see what it's gonna do. You can see what it goes, saturation. So this blending mode have the different kind of defaults in which you can set them to depending on the kind of design you're trying to make. And with this, I could give it a kind of background blur, make it a center of focus, and give it a brightness, opacity, and stuff like that. So that's just the basic tools for editing shapes and stuff like that. And you can always use the repeat grid on the alignment stuff. That means I could just align to any place I want to align to. Simply, very simple. Now, one thing why you need to use, you can use plugins for this. If I press the alignment right here, it's gonna bring some kind of alignment kit. So I can always align my stuff using this. You can see how it's disappearing one by one. And press X to help that off. So now you get the hang of it. It's quite simple to use. So you actually repeat the stuff all over and over again over your design, depending on the kind of design you want to create. So now let's just delete this and pretend this never happened. And let's give ourselves a little bit of edge by accessing another kind of stuff entirely. For example, this will still be the same as doing any kind of stuff you might have imagined. If I convert this into a shape, you can see still the same rules, the same stuff. Okay, that's no problem. But let's make use of text. Hello, how are you doing? So now when you say hello, how are you doing, there are a lot of stuff that could go on right here. We always adjust the width and the height right here, adjust the position and everything right here, give it a kind of mirror kind of form, give it a piece of rotation and fixed position wise code. We can also give it a repeater kind of grid, adjust the alignment over it right here. Like, there are a lot of stuff you can actually do with this. When you click on this, you see those stuff are kind of visible that you can actually do. Now, one thing that makes this stuff very delicate is the fact that you're going to need a lot of adjustments when you get to this area of text. You'll actually get a list of fonts to use right here. And please make sure you add fonts to this because you're going to be needing a lot of fonts for UX/UI design. And you can always click this up like this. You can see a lot of crazy fonts waiting for you to come and touch them. And actually, you can always give it a boldness, light, thick, and stuff like that. Italic position, anyone you just want to give it. And actually, this one gives the spacing between your characters, and this one, the spacing between your lines, and this too, the paragraphs, spacing between your paragraphs. This is just your alignment at the center, at the left, and this right. And actually, this is your point text. This is your area text. It gives you a little bit of what you need to be doing. Because with area text, it's more than one text. This one is mostly used for titles. This, you can make it capitalize your letters. We're not going to be using this. You need to give your letter a small letter, and this to give it in the right way. You see, that's the right way. So you just capitalize every first letter of the words, and this just for in case you're writing maybe something raised to power, something like T square or stuff like that. This is very useful. And when you're writing T1, T2, this is very also useful. And also this, you can actually use it to underline your stuffs. This show a kind of rung or structure. That's quite beautiful. So there's a lot of stuff you can actually do with this. Give it an opacity, change the blending mode to any kind of color you want it to feel, border, shadow. Text are not mostly without border, but you can always add your own by clicking on the checkbox right here. It's going to bring the border stuff up. And you can always click on the shadow, bring some sky and background blur. So let's just say this is quite simple to do with the text. And actually with your artboard, what could you do? So if I was to draw a new artboard right here, I could just select the way my artboard is going to look right here. So I'm going to select iPhone 678 and I'm going to get a new artboard right here. So that means even before I selected my artboard, once I select a new artboard, I could, before I just start drawing, you can see coming. So by the time I take this artboard and I want to draw, I'm going to see a list of artboards right here, and I can just click any one I want, and it's going to appear all over this place. So let's say it's quite simple, and you can see the simple tools right here. I can still change the artboard if I want to. Sorry, add another artboard if I want to, and actually look at the grid. I can add a layer or a square grid to help me to adjust my my layout very well. And actually, you can actually make this the default kind of size for all your artboard, or you can just use this as default. And the viewport height, you can always adjust the viewport height and weight and stuff like that, and make it a landscape. You see, it's gonna be a landscape instantly. Let's just say UI design is easy to adjust to with Adobe XD. Maybe when you're doing the tutorials on Azure Pro 9, you understand that sometimes some UI apps are actually crazier than Adobe XD and can be lots harder. But Adobe XD just makes it quite easy for you. You could also use Photoshop and Illustrator for UI design, but this is the most recommended app because the availability of the plugins. Like these plugins are not available mostly in Photoshop and Adobe and Illustrator. Though we have plugins for Photoshop and Illustrator, but these plugins are suited for this and they are perfect for the job. So that's all for today, actually, as you can see. But before we close it up, why don't we take a little bit of roundup towards prototype? That will happen in our next tutorial. And what about sharing stuff? We'll also discuss a little bit of that. And actually, we can discuss a bit of that of my project in the next tutorial. So please and please, before you leave, you can actually go down below, give us a comment, and let's see how far this tutorial has been quite helpful and quite explanatory. And also make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let's see how far we can go with this tutorial. Thank you very much for your support. Have a beautiful, nice and wonderful day, and goodbye.